BMRforum.com, BMRodds.com. What's going on, boys? Sammy in charge, Donnie right side here. Missing Bobby. He's on vacation. Hopefully he is enjoying the cruise. Today we are going to be breaking down NFL Week 1. We are back. How happy are you, Donnie?
It's good, man. And by the way, it did creep up. You come out of that Labor Day weekend and it turns into a sprint. And before you know it, tomorrow you wake up, it's like Christmas Day, Chiefs and the Lions, and away you go. And by the way, enjoy it while it's here because you will snap your fingers and we'll be talking about Super Bowl Sunday. It goes that fast during football season.
Yeah, I feel like NFL is one of the fastest seasons, especially because it's only one day a week. I think people get they get up the grind of NBA, NHL, MLB. It's every single day. NFL, everyone's action-packed for that one day. Now, speaking of Sunday, how do you like to watch the games? What type of viewer are you?
To be honest, like there's some people, which is a good question you bring up here. Some people like to go out to the bar. Some people like to hang out with family. Some people just like a few friends. To be honest with you, my favorite way to watch it is completely alone by myself. Betting games, stressing over games, yelling at the TV, maybe going upstairs, getting your food, coming back down into the basement there. That's how I actually enjoy it the most. Now, granted, I'll go to a bar. I'll go relax with family members on occasion. But if I want to watch my Eagles, put me by myself in my own basement and let's rock, Sammy.
Now, are you a red zone guy or are you I'm going to watch the Eagles guy?
No. Well, here's the thing. You got to have multiple TVs. Red Zone has to be up at all times, no question. This is the first year that it's on YouTube, and I did subscribe to that, so it'll be interesting to see. I've had the dish in the past. I've had no dish in the past. I prefer to have as many games on as possible, but no, I am definitely Red Zone no matter where you're at, on your laptop, whatever. That is always at least on one option. Absolutely. It's fantastic.
100%. I agree with you. Red Zone is always on my main TV. If the Cowboys are not a national TV game, I'll have them on the laptop, the iPad, the phone, whatever. But Red Zone is the main source of action. And we'll get right into it. So if you guys aren't part of the forum, why aren't you? We are giving away money. We are giving away prizes. And there's nothing that degenerate gamblers love more than to participate in free contests to win real money. So if you're not already participating, all you got to do is sign up on the forum, bookmakerreviews.com, and sign up, be a baller. You're already gambling. All you got to do is deposit $100 into a sports book, message Jeannie, fill out the baller forum, and then you will be a baller. You also get a match bonus for that sports book as well, and then you get a chance to earn some prizes on a weekly basis. So some of the events that are going on right now is the Pick 7 contest. So Pick 7 contest, 18 weekly prizes, $100 a week, 500 baller coins, which again, baller coins now you can use to convert to real money. So $100, top 5 places get weekly prizes. End of the year, you get $2,000 for first, $1,000 for second, pays out top 8 all the way down to $100. And again, it is free to enter. All you got to do is sign up. Then you go to runyourpool.com. Make your 7 weekly picks, and then we can get you in the running for some money. Every entry, you basically make 1 through 7, 7 being your most confident pick, you get 7 points, 1 being your least confident, you get 1 point, and everywhere in between. So today we're just going to go, me and Donnie, go through our 7 picks that we are personally making, and then we'll do a little bit of eliminator challenge.
By the way, Sammy, on this, it's the good part about this is it's not just pick 7 games, as you said, which, 4-3, 5-2. The fun of it sometimes is to have those variations where you can have a tough week and go, well, hold on. I won my top 2 plays here, lost the rest of them, and still had a decent week. And also, you can have the flip side. Man, I went 6-1 last week, but lost my top 7-point play and knocked me down a little bit there. So I like the fact that it's a little bit different of a variation to keep it fresh, though. Good stuff here by SBR. Or good PMR.
100%. Also, I got my screen shared right now. So if you look at it, sometimes the odds don't necessarily adjust live like you're betting at a sports book. So off the bat, Detroit is plus 6.5, whereas in reality, they're plus 4.5. So sometimes if you're following real lines, you're following the injuries, you could take advantage of a potential wrong line or non-adjusted line looking at, again, tomorrow night. So looking at tomorrow night, whether you pick them or not for the pick, how what are you thinking for tomorrow night? What are you looking at?
I'm telling you, it's really interesting. And it's good that you bring that up too, because you take a look at the 6.5 right now. If you look across multiple sports books, we're talking about 4.5 points here as the favorite here for Kansas City. So you are getting a little bit of a bonus with Detroit. I got to tell you, like outside of Patrick Mahomes, the one guy the Kansas City Chiefs can't lose is Travis Kelce. Now, am I saying, Sammy, that it opens it up here for an easy victory here for Detroit, or it doesn't matter if Kelce's going to play for Kansas City? No, it's still 11 on 11 out there. But my goodness, if you're not going to have Kelce, and that's what we're anticipating right now, Detroit is going to be live in this game. And again, I'm not saying they're going to win. It's hard in week one as is just to see what you're going to get and how many players are in shape to play. But my goodness, you look at 6.5. I'm telling you right now, free bet. Hey, Donnie, free bet right now. You want to make it? I'm not taking Kansas City minus 6.5. I would take Detroit at the 6.5.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at the squarest play of the week, maybe even of the entire year, it's going to be Kansas City on the money line. Everyone is going to be national TV game. It is the first game of the year. It is the home team. It is the defending Super Bowl champions. It's easy just to money line bet. It might be the squarest bet of the week of the year. I know Vegas is definitely going to be rooting for the Lions based on that. But a couple interesting things when I was doing a little bit of research on this game. The Detroit Lions had one national TV game last year, which is, of course, their guaranteed Thanksgiving game. This year, they're scheduled for 5 national TV games. Starting tomorrow, their Thanksgiving game, they got 2 Sunday nights and 1 Monday night. So Vegas, NFL as an organization are putting their eggs into the Detroit Lions sack and banking on them to have a successful year. 5 national TV games. So good for them. So let's see if they show up and hit their expectations. As we talked about last few weeks, they are favored to win their division. We'll see what happens there. Another interesting stat I saw is Kansas City led the league last year in points, 29.2. However, they only averaged 25 points at home and 33 points away.
That's interesting.
Detroit, on the other sense, was 5th with 26.6 points per game. Listen to this, 33 points at home, 19.4 on the road. So if you look at Kansas City and the Lions, they're combining 44 points based off last year with the Kansas City home versus Detroit Lions road. The over-under right now is 53. I'm on the under right now, 53, just based on a little bit of those stats. And again, without potentially Kelce going to be there, you might see a little bit more running of the ball. I do like Isaiah Pacheco to get over 50.5 running yards if Kelce is officially out. I'm not locking in that play just yet. I want to wait for tomorrow's injury report. But if Kelce is out, I expect more running the ball, which is going to set up for Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah, I like where you're going with that too. And also keep in mind, when you take a look at dome teams going outdoors, there's usually a difference here. And also the Kansas City Chiefs do have a grass field as opposed to turf, which obviously in a dome in Detroit, you have turf. So maybe they operate better on turf. And maybe you can actually say the same thing for Kansas City. When they go on the road, they're obviously going to play some games on turf, some games on grass, whereas every game at home is on grass. It's interesting to watch it play out because there's a lot of open-end options here for Detroit. You're not looking at household names on their offense, but boy, they moved the football family really well last year. I'm interested to see what Jahmyr Gibbs has opening night because he has a receptions prop, which is pretty cheap here. I believe it's under 30 yards. I think they'll utilize him more out of the backfield as opposed to handing the football off. You might get some cheap options. And also, tight end Sam Laporta has a cheap number here for the Detroit Lions for his receiving yards. Also interested to see if Kelce is out. Obviously, other guys are going to need to step up. But also, when you take a look at Patrick Mahomes, he opened up at 305 yards as his passing prop. Kelce gets injured, he's down to 285 to 280 at some places here. So big differences across the board. We'll see if Kelce's in or out tomorrow. But if it's a hyperextended knee and a bone bruise 48 hours before the game, I can't see him playing. And if he does play, how effective could he be anyway?
Yeah, no, 100% agree on that. And also, do you want to gamble and risk Kelce week 1 just to get a further injury to make him out 6 to 8 weeks? Now you're really in scramble mode. So going through, obviously we just talked about tomorrow's game. Donnie, what do you got on your slate for Sunday for your pick 7? Who do you got at the 7 and the 6 spot?
Yeah, if we go for the most confident here, which is interesting. And again, I preface this by saying the toughest 2 weeks in the NFL season are weeks 1 and weeks 2. In this pool that we bump up, if you are plus and you are in good shape after 2 weeks, boy, oh boy, you're rolling the dice for the rest of the season in good shape. So I'm actually going to take the Green Bay Packers as a road team against Chicago, getting the 1.5. The Bears are the slight favorite here. I put that as my number 7 as my most confident pick. Now, granted, there's other picks I do like. I was sort of trying to funnel it through and say, okay, how aggressive do you want to be? What's the worst case scenario on some of these football teams? But I figured myself, I think you're getting a good discount on Green Bay. Green Bay has owned the Chicago Bears, and I know you would say, Donnie, look, They owned him because Aaron Rodgers was in town. I'm telling you, Jordan Love is not going to be any slouch here, and I still think they have a quality football team. I'll take them for the slight upset on opening day, and I'll take them as my 7-point shot here, Sammy.
That's funny that you mentioned that as your 7 because obviously you see from my screen, I got Chicago slated in for my personal
there we go.
For my 6th pick for confidence. I actually like Chicago at home. I think Jordan Love, it's his first real start leading this team. He's on the road, tough divisional game. He might start off a little bit slow. And again, like we talked about a few weeks ago with Chicago, I like their offense. I think Justin Fields, Khalil Herbert, you got DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool. I think he's going to have some more offensive weapons, not need to be as mobile using his legs, and can actually use his arm and his legs to get all those points that Chicago's going to need to win this game. And at a short price, I'm actually on Chicago as my 6 confidence. My 7 confidence, and again, just like we talked about a few weeks ago, I am fading the Cleveland Browns as often as I possibly can. Deshaun Watson being the biggest bum, and wishing him nothing but the worst in life. But also, Joe Burrow announced that he is playing. He is ready to go for week 1. He's about to get paid as well, be the highest paid player in the league of all time, which we're going to keep saying that 3 times a year, every year, as these players get these ridiculous contracts. But, Bengals are a Super Bowl caliber team. Cleveland is a pretender. I think 2.5 points is a great line. Cincinnati, tough road divisional game, but I think they're going to get it done.
Yeah, tough division. And by the way, I do think Cleveland ends up in last place overall in that division, even though the Pittsburgh Steelers getting about like that plus 450 to plus 480. I think Cleveland does come up. My 6th team here, or 6 power number, Jacksonville Jaguars on the road against the Indianapolis Colts. Come on, man. Now, look, Jacksonville, we expect big things from, at least in the division here. For the Indianapolis Colts, a rookie on opening day, Jonathan Taylor's not going to play. One of the most underwhelming rosters in football for me outside of their offensive line. I'll take the Jacksonville Jaguars to handle their business. Now, granted, it's opening day. Sometimes you like to take some of those home dogs here, but the Colts aren't that home dog. I don't know if Jacksonville's going to go on the road, Sam, and just obliterate them 35-13. But at the same time, I don't think Jacksonville, I'm going to be looking in the third quarter like, hey, man, can you guys move the football? This is outrageous. I look for Jacksonville to put away the Colts here because over the season, it's going to be Arizona and Indianapolis for me fighting for the bottom of the barrel. And I think it starts opening day. I'll take Jacksonville with my 6 power rating.
Man, we are just exact opposites on this one here.
Who do you got on that? You got to tell me you don't have the Indianapolis Colts. Tell me.
I only have them as a 3 power rating.
I love
there.
this. This is great.
And my reasoning behind that is, again, tough divisional matchup. I like what I've seen out of Anthony Richardson in preseason, and as well as the Colts. They assigned him as a captain, which is a big deal. Deion Jackson in at running back, obviously with Taylor out. My issue with the Colts is they still have no one for wide receivers, but there's a lot of expectation with Jacksonville. They made it to the playoffs last year. They won a playoff game. So Trevor Lawrence, he's expected to win this game. He's expected to have 11 wins this season. Are they going to have that slow start? 4.5 points. Can I see a backdoor cover? Can I see it being a 4-point, 3-point field goal game? That's essentially what I'm banking on. I don't necessarily love the Colts to win straight up, but can they backdoor cover? Can they keep it close at the end? That's essentially what I'm kind of banking on there. I have them as my 3. Let's see. And then for my 5 pick, actually, I went to Monday Night Football, and I went with the New York Jets.
Wow. Good
love
stuff.
the hype around them. Love everything about it. Obviously they're on Hard Knocks this year, so the whole world is seeing them. Everyone loves Aaron Rodgers, or they hate Aaron Rodgers. I don't think that you have an opinion where you think he's neutral. You either like the guy or you hate the guy. I am on his bandwagon. Obviously, me personally being an upstate New York guy, I have a ton of friends that are Jets fans, Bills fans, Giant fans. I'm really rooting for the Jets. I think more from I'm rooting for my friends. I'm rooting for this organization that has just been dreadful for the last 10 years and embarrassing. I'm rooting for them to succeed this year. And I think that's going to be a great Monday night matchup. I think NFL did a great job with the scheduling this, and I'm excited for that matchup.
Yeah, that's a big-time matchup. I mean, you're taking a look at being obviously game number 1, but the AFC East is going to be so close. That's a pivotal game right off the bat. And if you are the New York Jets, you are at home. You got to win that game because why? You're going to have to go to Buffalo later in that season here. So that is a pivotal matchup. Looking forward to it. My 5th power ranking here on the board is going to come from the Washington Commanders. And I don't even like the Washington Commanders, Sam, this season overall. Sam Howell at quarterback, I think he's going to be okay. But Arizona, you're basically waving the white flag. If the team doesn't believe they're going to be winners and the front office is looking more towards next year, or at least when Kyler Murray gets back, who knows, week 7, 8, or 9 before they're competitive, I don't see big things. You actually have a sellout for the first time in a long time in Washington for their home opener. They'll at least be excited that day. And Ron Rivera, again, who I don't like as a head coach, they'll still be able to win by a touchdown or more over the Arizona Colts because they have no quarterbacks, average wide receivers, decent running back, and no hope for the season. I'm going to take the Commanders here to get a touchdown win at home on opening day. One of the few bright spots for the Commanders this season for me.
Very nice. I did not make any picks on that, although with the Washington Commanders, we'll talk about them in 5 minutes, but we are looking at them for the Eliminator Challenge as well. But my 4 pick in there, I got the Minnesota Vikings, 6.5 home to Tampa Bay. My personal fantasy football team for my work league, which obviously we talk the most shit, I got the number 1 pick. So I got the Justin Jefferson combination with Kirk Cousins. So we are riding the Vikings at home. I also think I have a lot more respect for Kirk Cousins watching the Netflix quarterback series. Great insight on him as a person, as a family man, also how he plays onto the field and how he relates to his teammates. So Kirk Cousins has great numbers, and there's no reason to think that he's going to be dropping off. And Justin Jefferson is an MVP caliber for a non-quarterback. Quarterbacks is the only one that's ever going to win MVP. But if we're talking, offensive player of the year, Justin Jefferson is 100% one of the favorites. Baker Mayfield, starting with that Tampa Bay offense, that's definitely going to be lacking from last year losing Tom Brady. Is Baker going to be the guy that steps up to the plate? I think we talked about this last week, Donnie, when you said that Baker has a short string. They might see him out after 4 to 6 weeks. So he better win early, but if he's not winning early, they might cut the cord on him pretty quickly.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that too, because if you take Baker Mayfield and say, hey, look, nobody looking over your shoulder, you're going to play all 17 games, he might pull it in just a little bit. But if he knows he has to make plays to keep his job, that usually means bad things out of Baker Mayfield. It'll be an interesting one to watch, certainly opening day. My 4th ranking here, the Philadelphia Eagles, -3.5 over the New England Patriots. And no, it's not a homer pick. I think the Eagles are that good. I believe they should be able to beat the New England Patriots by 7. But having said that, the Patriots are a lot better than what most people think they are. But that tells you how much I think of the Philadelphia Eagles coming into 2023. This is a sneaky shot here, the same way a lot of people thought the Detroit Lions on opening day last year against the Philadelphia Eagles was a sneaky shot. They ran out to a big lead, got a late comeback for Detroit. They were able to hang on for that victory. I do think the Eagles are good enough to cover 3.5 points against the New England Patriots on opening day. Big things out of Jalen Hurts and the Eagles this year. It starts game number 1. I think they handle their business in Foxborough.
Yeah, nice pick. I think I've kind of skipped around with my numbers and everything.
That's fine.
I think I already showed the number 2 with Detroit Lions. Again, I'm almost not. I'm almost taking them just because it's a 2-point difference, so I'm taking the benefit of there. You mentioned Jacksonville. I mentioned I had Indianapolis as my 3. So my last pick is sitting there as the number 1 pick. I got the LA Chargers 2.5 home to Miami. I think that's going to be a high-scoring game.
I like that pick.
The other thing that you probably have noticed just by my screen share is that this is spreads only. There is no over-unders. So it is strictly spreads on this contest. So there was some over-unders I definitely wanted to pick, but based on the spreads, I like the Chargers, 1 point confident, home to the Miami Dolphins.
I think it's a smart move. I really do. And I actually like that play because a lot of people, look, you're going to get Tua Tagovailoa healthy, at least for that first game we anticipate. But I'm telling you right now, the Chargers are loaded for bear. If there's one team that can overtake the Kansas City Chiefs in that division, it's going to be the Chargers. They got wide receivers. They got the quarterback. They got the defensive line. They got the defensive secondary and also a new offensive coordinator. I like that pick you have here. I'm also going to go with a couple plays here, keep it in the NFC West. How about this? Seattle Seahawks -5.5 over the Rams. I'm picking on some teams I think are going to be bad this season, which does include the Rams. And I don't think Cooper Kupp's going to be playing this Sunday here. So massive advantage for Seattle at home. And again, I don't think a lot of things are going to happen well here for the Rams in 2023. Pick number 2. How about this one? The New York Football Giants getting 3.5 points at home this weekend against the Dallas Cowboys. Brian Daboll is going to have that team ready to play. I think it's going to be a real close game within a field goal either way. So I'm going to take the points here with the New York Giants. And number 1 here, which obviously is not number 1 on your rankings, where it's just number 1 as a point. I'm going to take a flyer on the Pittsburgh Steelers at home, getting 2.5 points from the San Francisco 49ers. Now, big news, we just saw Nick Bosa just got paid a ton of money. So he is going to be in the lineup. We'll see how many snaps he does get Sunday. I look for a hard-fought, low-scoring game, but I do think the Pittsburgh Steelers can pull off the upset here. And I like the Steelers this season as well, Sammy.
I actually agree with you. I love the Pittsburgh Steelers. I do like them as an upset as well, week 1 versus San Fran. And then I got to talk about my Cowboys a little bit. You talked about the Giants in there. Square play of the week number 2, the Dallas Cowboys money line. All right, listen, this game is Sunday Night Football. It's going to be everyone's bailout play, right?
It's
Everyone's
so good,
going to be
man. What a
looking
good
to
week.
either take their profits and double it or take their losses and find a way to break even. So I am obviously a Dallas Cowboy fan, and I'm always going to be biased towards them. But the squarest play of the week, number 2, 100% will be the Cowboys money line on Sunday Night Football. I agree with you. I can definitely see it being a 3-point tight, hard-fought game. Obviously, I'm rooting for the Cowboys. For me, I'm probably going to end up betting the Cowboys on the money line. Sammy's square. I just can't avoid not betting the Cowboys over the Giants. I just don't like the Giants personally as well. I'm not on the Daniel Jones board. He has no receivers to throw it to. Saquon Barkley is great. But the Cowboys, number 1 defense last year, number 1 in turnovers. They're going to be putting a ton of pressure, Micah Parsons, on Daniel Jones.
He's
so
awesome.
if he's not getting rid of that ball quickly, the Cowboys with that high-powered offense can put up some points in there. So, but again, it is a super square play. Kansas City, number 1, Dallas, number 2. They're going to be the most popular picks of the week. You got to agree there.
That's good stuff. And by the way, Michael Parsons, I'm a diehard Eagles fan. Michael Parsons might be my favorite defensive player in the entire league, an absolute game wrecker. Last year, I had him for a prop that opened up the season, was 10 sacks or more. He almost got it in the first 3 weeks, man. Guy's an animal. He might win Defensive Player of the Year this year. So good things 100%. On the horizon, certainly for him.
All right. So that was our pick 7 picks for the BMR Run Your Pool. But if you're on the forum, if you guys are daily power posting, Carolina Kid is throwing out a $500 contest. Again, this is for free. All you got to do is just be an active poster on BMR. 3 picks per week. No confidence. You could pick over-unders. You could pick spreads. 3 picks per week. Basically, 3 times 18 is 54. The best record is going to win. There are some tiebreakers throughout, but 3 picks per week. Shout out to Carolina Kid. Shout out to JDS. He created a thread for it. He is personally going to be grading all the picks throughout the year. So try and give him a little bit of easiness on your picks. I would almost say try not to make one post with 1 pick, then a page later, another pick, and then a page later. Try and put all 3 of your picks in one post just to make it easy for JDS to grade it. It's going to be impossible for him to do this as it is. It's going to be super stressful. I see the gray hairs coming from him, but give him as much help as possible. Shout out Carolina Kid. Shout out JDS. Appreciate your work you're putting into that, and $500 for free. All right. So last topic we'll talk about week 1 is the Eliminator Challenge.
Yeah.
All right. So BMR is not personally doing an Eliminator Challenge, but I know it is a popular contest for a lot of players or a lot of people out there. I personally am in 2 entries for one of mine. Donnie, I saw you tweet today that you have an entry. So what are you looking at for week 1?
Now, here's the problem. I've been in a lot of Survivor Suicide Eliminator pools in the past year. And I'm telling you right now, if I get past week number 1, I usually make it quite a while. Now, I've never actually won one or made it even to weeks 14, 15, or 16. Usually getting that 10, weeks 11, weeks 12. But they're a lot of fun to be in. I went with the Baltimore Ravens, and I know everybody's probably going to jump on it, but the way I see it here is I just got to go with what I think is the safest play on the board, and that's what I tell you sometimes. You get knocked out in the first week, like, how did that happen? That's the NFL in the first week. There's going to be a lot of surprises, but I want a home team against a rookie quarterback with an MVP caliber quarterback, and I will live with it here. So I'm going to go Baltimore Ravens, but as I said before, if I can make it past week number 1, it gets extremely fun because now you have educated guesses moving forward as opposed to saying like, ooh, I think this team, Sammy, is going to be good in week 1. So even though I'm going chalky and probably 90% of the pool is going to have the Baltimore Ravens, I don't care. I just want to survive week 1 so I can make those smart choices down the road heading into week number 2 and beyond.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. The first 3 weeks are impossible.
So hard,
it's so hard to get past it. And again, another strategy in the Eliminator is to fade the most popular team, because if you can find a winner and that team goes down, a bunch of entries are going to be out. You don't want to be in that mix. So I did a screen share to show you my strategy. So I have 2 entries. One of them, I laid out all 18 weeks, just hypothetically picking all 18 weeks, just trying to set it for how I think it could happen. Again, I will be making adjustments every single week, especially if you look at it, I don't have the Kansas City Chiefs until week 16, the Philadelphia Eagles till week 17. So those are going to be two popular picks in the first 6 weeks, maybe even the first 3 weeks. Kansas City plays home to the Bears week 3. That's going to be a popular pick. But one strategy is I can save that team for later. But if you don't make it later, then what's the point of saving the team? So it's such a fun, strategic, long-term type of game. Once you use the team, you can't use them for the rest of the year. I remember last year I took Jacksonville at home to Houston, and of course that a week that Houston decided to win. And right there, I got Jacksonville week 3 again, home to Houston. We'll see what happens. But I think the popular strategy this year, like we mentioned, is fade Arizona, fade the Houston Texans. You know they're going to find. Their over-under for Vegas is 4.5. So Vegas isn't putting much faith in them. They're barely going to scrap away 3 to 5 wins. You just got to hope that you're not picking against them on the eliminator. So for me, I also have the Ravens on entry number 1, and I went with the Washington football team for entry number 2.
Going with the DC area. I like that. And by the way, Washington, I do believe, is a smart pick there because also, as Sammy is going to be was noting, if you use Washington and you can get a win out of Washington on the season, that's a huge bonus because there's not going to be a ton of choices down the road. Like, oh, look at this. Washington is favored by a touchdown or more against another football team. So that's a great look for Washington, and they should come to play. And quite frankly, how good do they have to be to actually win week 1 at home against the Cardinals? I like both. You have a sure shot here on what we think the Ravens are going to be, and then you took another educated, smart guess on Washington by going, you know what? If I get a win out of Washington, that's a notch up in my belt for the rest of the way. I like that, Sammy. I do.
All right. So I also personally made an eliminator thread on BMR. So follow along, join the conversation every week. I will try and be posting 3 to 5 of the favorite picks, as well as have a great conversation about some teams with small spreads to try and survive. I'll be honest, if I get eliminated within the first month, I don't know how enthusiastic I will be towards that thread. But if other people are joining the conversation and they have entries going, I will always be a part of it. But if no one is joining the conversation, it'll just be based off how I do. And then we'll go from there. But hopefully you guys join. Hopefully we can get a winner within our community. And we're not betting against each other. We're betting against, we all got our own pools here. But hey, thanks, Donnie, for joining the video. Great preview for week 1. Hopefully everyone has some profitable betting tickets, same game parlays. You know what the New York State books love to promote, or the not New York State, all the the U.S. books love to promote the same game parlays. Hopefully someone hits a lottery pick. Let's have a profitable week 1 moving forward, profitable every single week. And let's have a year. Sammy in charge, Donnie right side, BMR Forum, bookmaker reviews. Let's do it.
Awesome.